Today we are doing our webinar over Google Docs. Google Docs. We are so excited to see everyone. We hope you guys learn lots of things. If you have not already, please take a moment to sign in. I know Gina's amazing and has already put that link in the chat. I don't even have to look because I know she's awesome. So if you haven't, please go ahead and sign in. Make sure that you leave us your name and your email. That way, if you have questions or need anything afterwards, we can reach out to you and make sure you get all of the information. If you've been to one of our other webinars, you know that Gina and I also use a webinar back channel for questions. The webinar bit.ly is there on the screen. I'm sure Gina has also posted that in the chat. That is where we would go to answer your questions, and then you would get an email from us with the answer after the fact. Or if you have a question during the webinar, of course, you can put it in the chat and we'll get those at the end. My name, for those of you that don't know, is LaShaka Wesley Hosier. I am the one-to-one at South Garland, and my partner in crime is Gina. Gina, say hi.
Good morning, everybody. I had to go turn down my New Orleans jazz music. The horn was really loud coming out of the bedroom. I'm Gina King. I'm the one-to-one instructional coach from Garland High School. I'm so glad to have you guys here today. Remember, it's not just docs. Everything that we're going to talk about today applies a lot to all the other Google tools out there, especially dealing with permissions. And Docs is a big part of your level 1 certification test. So I know many people right now are looking at those resources, looking at working on getting that certification while we are in this remote learning environment. If you ever have any questions, even about that, please feel free to give LaShaka or I an email, and we have some resources for you. We'll be happy to help coach you through that test as well.
Yes. All right. So just a basic overview of what we're covering today. We have all of our beginner skills, our intermediate skills, and then our advanced skills. I have to tell you, every time I do a webinar, I go through and I research, and it's amazing to see the updates that they've done and all of the things that are changing. I mean, just from 6 months ago, the new advancements in Docs are really neat. So we are going to head over to Google Docs. So I've got my example here for the webinar, and we're just going to jump right in. So you can get to Docs a couple of ways. You can get there from your Drive. You can get there from a new Google tab, or if you just type in docs.google.com, it will bring up the Docs menu. So this is what the Google Docs menu looks like. You have a couple of different options here. You can start a blank document, or you can search for a template within the template gallery. So to get there, I just clicked on template gallery and I went to general templates. These are templates from Google. So now you can see they've got several of them for education, some specifically for letters, resume templates if you want those, personal templates, which I think this pet resume is adorable, work, just for notes, proposals, anything you can think of, sales, legal, they have some contracts down here, human resources, and then freelancer engagement, which is really nice. Now, because we are part of GISD, when you log in with your GISD credentials, you will also see a GISD template gallery. If you click on that, there are several templates here. They came from all over. People have submitted them. So if you have a template that you know you would like to add, you can just hit submit template, find your document, and then hit submit and add it to a specific category. So just make sure that whatever template you're using, you include it as a blank template without any information on it, okay? And then templates here, things that you would use all of the time. The one in GISD for a lesson plan. Here's a lesson plan in Google for those templates. Okay, so we're going to go back to the document that I had open, and we're just going to start looking at the menus. So when you pull up Google Docs, you'll see your traditional toolbar here, and then you will also see all of the menu options across the top. Starting with File, if you scroll down, you can do New, and again, you can do a document from there or from a template. You can make a copy of a document. You can download as. Now, this is really important. Sometimes when we go to upload things on websites or if we're trying to email something, you can download any document that you create in Google Docs as a Microsoft Word document or a PDF, which is amazing because, you know, everybody can open PDFs. Or you can even download it as an e-publication or a web page. You can email it directly as an attachment from here. You can make it available offline. So that means that you do not have to be connected to the internet to be able to continue to edit or work on that particular document. That might be something of interest for your students. If you know that they have started an essay at school, maybe they don't have internet at home or wherever they're going, they don't have access to internet. If they make it available offline, they can still choose to edit it. Version history, we've talked about previously. This allows you, it'll open a window over here on the right. So you can see I originally created this yesterday at 10:21. And that's what it looked like then. Here's my 11 o'clock. Here's my last night one at 8:06. Okay, and you can restore those at any time. So if there's something that you think, oh my gosh, I've completely ruined this, let me just go back to where it was 2 days ago, you have the freedom to do that. Back in the menu, you can move it. So if you know where it is in your drive, you can move it to a specific folder that you want. So maybe it's not where you want now, but you can move it to where you would like. Publishing it to the web. This is a handy feature for people if you're going to be sharing a document with a large number of people, rather than sending a link out through Google, you publish it to the web, and then you can also embed it from there. And if I hit publish, it's going to say, are you sure? I'm going to say, okay. And then I would just copy and paste this link. And from there, it basically opens a very plain copy of my document. There are no tools up here for anyone to mess with. It's literally just a view-only page. And as you can see, it is updated automatically every 5 minutes. So any changes that I make to the original document, once it's been published, those changes are live, just on a 5-minute delay. So you don't have to republish it every time. Okay. One of the other things, if I had a collaborator, I could email them all at once. So rather than sending individual ones or even going through Outlook, I could email everybody. I can change my language of my page. So I have it set to English. I could change it to anything else I wanted, and then type from there, but I am going to change it back to English because I don't know what that language is that I just selected. And then the page setup. So just like in sheets, or not sheets, in slides, you can change the margins as well as the paper size. So to get it to go to portrait or landscape, you go to File, Page Setup, and then you also can change the letter size. So I like to, sometimes I would put mine on tabloid if I was working on a template for the students to be able to do storyboarding or something that requires a little bit more space. And then you can see I have my margin set to 1/2 inches instead of a regular inch, but that's just up to you. You can also change the color of your page. So sometimes I would do different periods and different colors just to help with my organization, but it's completely up to you. Okay, sorry, Hamels was stuck in here with me. Okay, so from the File menu, there's the Edit menu. These are just basic edit tools. The most important one I think here is Find and Replace. So if you know that you have misspelled a word or you didn't have the correct capitalization or whatever, and you want to correct all of them at once, rather than going through and making sure you've tried to find everything. So yesterday, I know I typed in subheading. I'm going to replace that with heading, okay? Maybe there was a space because it says it doesn't have any. There we go. Okay, so now it's telling me I have 3 instances of subheading. I'm going to replace that phrase with heading, and I'm just going to click Replace All. So now all 3 of those have been replaced with the word all at one time, rather than me having to go through and find it individually. The other ones are basic. So here in the view menu, and this is important for math teachers, you can see an equation toolbar. So I don't know what any of this means. Again, not a math teacher, but you can click on Greek letters. They've got some other math symbols up here. And this toolbar you can hide or choose to show. Obviously mine was hidden because I don't need any of these. But if you need the equation bar, then you would just click whatever you wanted and it would put those in for you. So I just clicked the beta, I'm guessing, and it added it right there next to my 3. So I'm gonna click out of that and erase that because I don't want it. So let me take that off. You can also see the document outline, which is gonna be here on the left. If you don't want to see the outline, you can get rid of it and then it'll go away. But personally, I like seeing it just to kind of know where I'm at and what I'm doing. And then you can make sure that it's in editing mode, suggesting mode, or viewing mode. So if I switch to viewing mode, I'm not going to be able to edit or click on anything, but I can see what it'll look like if I print it off or for someone else to read. And you know you're in viewing mode because over here on the right, it's switched to the little eye. So I'm going to go back to editing mode so I can get all my toolbars back. Under format, the most important thing here is clear formatting. So if you have copied and pasted something from the internet, if you have something from another document, if you've opened a template and whatever you try and do is just driving you insane and the bullets aren't right or the text doesn't match the text that you've picked or it's the wrong size, all you would do is highlight that section and then hit clear formatting and all of that goes away. And then you can reset it to whatever you want. Here I can change my text, my paragraph styles, my indents, my line spacing. I can add it columns if I wanted. And then I can talk about how far away I want, whether or not I want a line between columns. So if you've got a list of maybe vocabulary words or something that, you know, you want to put all in one page, that would be a good place to start. Okay, insert menu. Inserting an image is the same as anywhere else. So I'm going to go to Drive for my images. Once it opens my images, I'm going to be able to insert just with a click of a button. So here's my Screencastify Genius badge. I'm going to click Insert, and then boom, right there, wherever you had your cursor, the image will pop up. Now, I can resize this to whatever I want. So I can make it really big, really little. And then here you can see I can also kind of pull on the sides, but now I've distorted that image, and I don't want that to happen when I'm resizing it. So to avoid that, if I just hold down the Shift key, now anytime I go to resize it, it's going to keep the perspective the same so that it always ends up looking as it should, as opposed to me stretching it out on one side or the other. You could insert a table, insert drawing. Now this is something super cool that I found yesterday while I was researching, actually. In drawings, so if I just go to new drawing and I click on the line function and I click on this little arrow, see how it says scribble? I can actually, if I hold down on my trackpad, I can do a digital signature that is saved as a drawing. So let me get my H there. Okay, so now my signature is complete. So if I save this, now I've got a digital image of my signature. You could even make it blue or black or whatever you wanted to do. So now anytime I want to insert my signature, I can go in and digitally insert my signature because I've saved it as a drawing, which is awesome for documents or anything that you need to initial without having to print and send back. So I'm going to get rid of my signature there, but that's just a new function in drawing, which I thought was neat. You can insert a chart. They have regular charts. You can even link it to a chart from Sheets. So if you've done disaggregation of data and you embedded a chart in Sheets, you can pull that chart directly into a Google Doc if you're creating a report. Footnotes, special characters, there's another equation bar. You can insert a link. You can insert a bookmark, which is really nice. So if I'm up somewhere and I want to bookmark to another page in the document, I can do that. Or I can insert a table of contents. So if I just do this black one, it's just going to give me page numbers. But if I do this blue one, it's actually going to create links. So I'm going to go up here underneath my subtitle, and I'm going to go to Insert, Table of Contents with blue links. So now if I click on heading 3, you see I've got this little link here. If I click it, it takes me straight down in my document to heading 3. So if you've got a really super long document, or even if you're creating lesson plans and you give each week or each unit its own heading, then when you insert that table of contents and you click on it, it will take you directly to that particular section of your document, which will save you some time. It's also nice for students if they're writing papers to kind of include a table of contents. So to remove that, you would just right click, and then if you hit the refresh, it would update. So after I typed, I could take stuff out if I wanted to, or I can just remove it. So that's what I'm going to do, delete table of contents. So now that's gone. Okay, so we talked about insert, we talked about format. Tools, this was also something that is new, as you can see from this new button down here, but word count. So previously, they've always included a word count in the bottom right-hand corner. Now they no longer do that. So if you click on word count, it will give you how many pages the document is, how many words are in the document, how many characters, and then characters excluding spaces, which is really nice. So I can have it display the word count while I'm typing. I don't really need to know that. But if you're trying to get your students to do a specific number of words, or if you yourself, maybe in a master's program or a doctorate program, you have to create an essay or whatever with so many pages or words, that's one way to do it without having to count by hand. Another fun tool is this compare documents. Now this is new, and I played with it yesterday for a little bit, and it actually, to me, it would be if I was looking at maybe different versions of the same document. But I can go through in my drive, and I'm just going to pick a random document. So let me keep scrolling down past my folders. Okay, so here's an untitled document. We'll go Schmoop links because I don't know what the untitled ones are. Okay, so if I hit compare, it's going to think for a little bit, and then it's going to open a new window with both documents put over each other, like kind of overlaid, so I can see the difference between my document and something else. So here I can see there is no title, no subtitle. All of this is returned, 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 returned. It's still thinking. Okay, so now here's my Schmoop links in pink, and then I can see what changes were made. So here I deleted my equation, I deleted 3A, 3B, 3C, 3D, I deleted spacing, and it's going to tell me what the differences are, which is also neat if you're trying to see 2 different documents together. Yes, Gina, that's an excellent point. You could use it for plagiarism. If you have maybe 2 students that turned in very similar documents, and I mean like, maybe 1 word off or paragraph here that is somewhere else in another paper, this would be an excellent way to put those 2 papers next to each other and kind of figure out what's happening, because it's going to pull up the changes that I've made to my document in comparison with this document. So excellent point, Gina. So that's a new tool that they've added for compare documents. The Explore tool has always been down there. It's in every Google tool. So if you click on Explore, it's going to bring up a couple of different options. So I can type in puppies, because they're my favorite, P-U-P-P-I-E-S. And then it's going to do a web search, an image search, or I can search within my drive. Okay. Or it will also search within my document. It's going to give me a definition. And then let's say that I have, I want to include something from this Wikipedia page on puppies. So I'm going to go through, I'm looking, and I think, oh, okay, look at that. Puppies have a 63-day gestation period. Okay, so I've got this whole paragraph here that I'm going to copy. If my mouse would work with me, sorry, I'm using my trackpad and it's a little strange. Okay, so I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to come over here into my document, and I'm going to paste it. Okay, so now there's my stuff. If I click on these little quotations, it's going to cite it as a footnote for me. So now I've got that one, and then down here, puppy Wikipedia from the website accessed on 29 April 2020. So that's a fun thing for your students to learn, as well as for you. Just any type of page that you find. Now, obviously, we don't want our students going to Wikipedia, but if you do Google Scholar or anything else, it will also pull up this site as a footnote. And that's an easy way for the students to cite their sources so that there is no plagiarism going on. So I'm going to get out of this comparison here, close my little Wikipedia page. Okay, so now I'm back to my original document. Dictionary. So you can actually look up words within Google Docs, but you can also add words to your own dictionary, which is neat. So see how it says personal dictionary here? You can see that I've added my name to the personal dictionary. My name is never, ever spelled correctly on any word processing tool ever. It always tells me there's an error. So if you know that there's a word that you type all of the time, like Screencastify, for instance, Castify. Normally it would underline that and tell me it's wrong, but I can add that. So now anytime I type in Screencastify, as long as it's spelled the same way it is as I typed into my dictionary, it's never going to underline that word is incorrect. So I know right now, if you type in my name into your word processing, it will underline it in red and say it is spelled wrong and give you some type of correction. But I added it to my personal dictionary, so now it will never be spelled incorrectly again, which is fun. Okay, so that's spelling. That's pretty much anything here. Oh, one of the other things you can do is voice type and translate the document. So if I go to translate document, I can choose a language. So if I wanted to, and this is not something I would recommend because Google Translate is not necessarily like the best, but as a last resort, let's say I really needed this document in Korean for some reason. If I hit translate, it's going to open it in a new window for me, and it's going to be translated into Korean. So I'm going to let it think and do what it's doing. Now it says translated copy. And now my title, my subtitle, all of my headings, these are all translated into whatever language I've chosen. So again, if you need something in Spanish as a last resort or any other language, this would be a plausible tool that you could have. You can also do voice typing. So from here, if I just open that and then click to speak, everything that I am saying will automatically be typed on the screen for me. So for your students that maybe are slow typers, or if you're just trying to think out loud, maybe brainstorm, you just want all your thoughts on paper, you can voice type, get everything down, and then go through and edit. Now, obviously, you have to speak very clearly. I said click to speak. The first time it didn't catch that, and it put quit. And then when you're done, you just click the little microphone and it stops. Okay? Anything that is going to be underlined, it's going to say, did you mean? So here, that little quit popped up. Did you mean click? Yes, I did. Thank you for figuring that out. Okay. So click to speak is an awesome tool. And then accessibility settings. If you wanted some type of reader support or magnifier, you could do that. Okay. And then add-ons. Two add-ons that I want to talk about today is Doc2Form and the highlight tool. Doc2Form is already approved in the add-ons menu. So again, to do that, you're just going to go to Get Add-ons. And then once that menu pops up, you would type in whatever add-on you're looking for. The internet is moving painstakingly slow this morning. I guess Google had a brain fart. I don't know what's happening. Okay. And it's not going to let me do anything until it loads because I can't exit out of it. Okay, well, while it's loading, I'll tell you. Doc2Form allows you to take a Word document. Oh, there we go. Here we go, Doc2Form. So you can select the text in your Word document, click Add to Form, and then it will transform magically those questions into questions on a Google form for you. So you don't have to retype everything, which is really nice, especially if you're creating quizzes directly from notes or anything else that you shared with students. The other one is the highlight tool. And again, these are both whitelisted, which is why I was able to install them. The highlight tool is exactly what it sounds like. It's going to give you access to multiple highlighters, and then you can also kind of create your own little legend for the highlights. So, you know, if you've got an English paper like this one is with your thesis, your evidence, your conclusion, and you're asking your students to either annotate or peer edit, then they can use these tools, which is really neat. Or you can use them when you're editing a student's paper or your own. Okay, so that's pretty much all of the menus and things up top. So now let's look at adding an image and then either cropping it or making it into a specific shape. So I'm going to, again, search for an image, and I'm going to search the web for an image. This time, instead of puppies or kittens, let's do flowers. Okay, so I've got this flower here. I'm going to pick an insert. Now, if I want to, I can change this into whatever shape I want. So if I highlight it, here I can crop the image. So let's say I just want this single flower here. I don't want the buds over there on the side. I can crop the image so that I get just that. If I click on image options, it's going to bring up this recolor. I can change the image so that it is now in black and white or a negative. I can do this grayscale here, which I think is really pretty. I can do a sepia. So based on whatever document or information or picture, I might need to change the color based on like the feeling or tone of the document. You can do that. I can make adjustments here, make it transparent. So if I want this as a background, I can change the brightness, the contrast. I can change the rotation or the size. Here you see it's locked, that aspect ratio. If I unclick that, I can stretch out the sides, kind of make it wonky. I can rotate it. I can put it on any angle I want. So let's say I want it on a 64-degree angle. I can do that. The image options are all there. So now I've got this image that I have completely obliterated. You can also rotate an image just using this little circle, and it'll give you the, I don't know if you guys saw that with my mouse in the way, but it'll give you the degrees that you're rotating it. So if you know you want a specific, 64-degree angle, it'll give you that. Or I can replace it by doing another search. I can also reset the image. So now it is back to what I had before. I recolored and did all of the fun stuff. And then you can shape the image as well. If I wanted to, I could change this to a square or a circle or an arrow or whatever I wanted to add. Okay, sharing. Sharing settings for Google Docs are the same as every other sharing setting in Google. If you put this document into a folder that you have shared with a specific person, whatever you put into that folder takes on the sharing settings of that folder. But since this is a document that I've just created, I can turn it off. So link sharing is not on, so only people with the link can access. I can do anyone with the link can edit, anyone with the link can comment, or anyone in Garland with the link can view. Now, traditionally, if we're going to put something on a website or on Google Classroom, we definitely want to keep it to anyone with the link can view, and then you would just copy the link and put it wherever you wanted. That is going to be link sharing if I'm sending it to multiple people. If I want to send this to Gina so she specifically can work on it with me, I'm going to type in her email address, make sure that it says can edit, and then I'm going to send it to her. You can add a note if you want and say, hey, what do you think of this flower image as our next invitation for our webinar? Whatever you want. And then you can see it says it's been shared with one person at the top. Ooh, I have the hiccup, sorry. Okay, now what can you do with documents besides just type a paper, right? as teachers, you're like, well, this is, I mean, okay, but what else can I do with it? Well, one of the things you can do is create a choice board or a hyperdoc. So if I go to insert and I do a table, and I'm going to do, let's do a 4x4 table. Okay. So now I can set up either a bingo board, a choice board, whatever. So I can have maybe writing. I can have, I'm trying to think of like kinesthetic, auditory. So let's do reading. Let's do an acting. And let's do reading, writing, acting. Let's just do an art project. Now, if I've got things here, I can create a choice board for students, or within that choice board, I can hyperlink to other things to make it a hyperdocked choice board. Oh yes, Gina suggested Wicker. Excellent, Gina. So writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading. Okay, so you could do Wicker there. And let's just say I've got create a 2-page paper over this topic. So now from this, I can insert a hyperlink and it'll give you suggestions, or I can search and find web images. So if I want them to write about cupcakes, no, not share the pair. What did you do there? Okay, cupcakes. Here we go. Search. Now I've got this Sally's Baking Edition recipe. Okay, so I'm going to just copy that URL. And then when I come back to this and I click on my hyperlink button again, I can insert that link. So now when the students are pulling this up, and I would save this as a PDF, so file, download PDF. Obviously you would make it pretty, add some graphics. Don't just send them a black and white choice board. When they click on this, it's going to take them to this particular web page. So now they know that I want them to write a 2-page paper over this chocolate cupcake recipe. Okay, so you would fill all of this in. You can make it landscape by changing the page setup. You can make it, you know, a really large document. I can add some color to my page. Maybe I want to go with school colors so that it's blue in the background, whatever. So now all of that has changed instantly, and I can go through and add my choice board, or I can make it a hyperdoc choice board. One of the other things you can do is keep. So over here on my keep, any of my notes are going to be loaded, because keep, you can transfer from device to device to device. So you can see I've got books I want to read, my keepers for my keeper league for football, my Disney list if I had my packing list there, my personal to-dos, my school to-dos. So if I wanted to, I can literally just drag this with all 25 items into my Google Doc, and now everything that I've already completed has the line through it, and then everything that I haven't completed is now, instead of those check marks, is now bulleted. Okay, so if you've got a Google Keep note that you have shared with someone, which this is shared, the school to do is actually shared with Gina, then if this is something that I was working on with her, rather than retyping all of this, I can literally just pull it over into my Google Doc. And you can pull Keep notes into slides as well as docs. So keep to docs. All right, adding words to dictionary, find and replace, signature. Oh, force copy and template links. Can you use the paint can to show how to color cells? Yes, I can, Gina. Okay, so in my chart here, okay, this is set to transparent. But if I wanted to, let's say I wanted to differentiate my choice board, and I want to give my kids some type of legend. So if I color that green with the paint can there, now any kid knows, okay, the green ones are going to be the easy ones. So I have to do maybe 10 green ones, or I can do 5 yellows, or if I want to do really hard, I can do 2 reds. So then I would type that in the directions down there, complete either 10 green, 5 yellow, or 2 red activities from the choice board. So that is a way that you can easily differentiate without having to say like, oh, I've differentiated this activity. Because again, your kids aren't going to know that the green ones are the easy ones. I mean, it's not that hard to figure out since you're doing 10 of them compared to 2 red. But some kids would rather do 10 really short projects or, assignments, and some kids would rather do one really time-consuming one. So allowing them to have choice is just another way of differentiating in addition to content and product, which is nice. Okay, so force copying. So let's say I've got this here and I want to share it, but I don't want to share my original document. I want to send it to my kids, but I want each kid to have a copy of their own, or I want to send it to my colleagues and I want each colleague to have a copy of their own, but I don't want to send it through Google Classroom or anything else. I'm going to copy. I'm going to open a new tab. I'm going to paste my URL, and then instead of the word edit, now look how smart Google is. It knows I already have this open. So it's like, hey, do you just want to go to the tab that you already have open, dum-dum? Google's amazing. I'm going to put copy. Okay, so I've erased the word edit. I'm going to put the word copy. So now when I hit enter, boom, it comes up as copy document. So this is called a force copy. This is what's going to happen if you send this to someone. It brings them to this page. The only thing they can do is make a copy of it. So they would click make a copy. It's going to take them to a brand new copy of this with the word copy of in the title. Another way that you can do that is to create a template link. So, and I don't remember what the short template link in Google. I don't remember what the template link thing is, the words that you need to change. Create a Google Docs template. I know it's like template shared. A template link, that's what I want. Google URL tricks. I can't remember what it's called because I don't normally do this one. I normally just send copies. But if you want to do something with your students as a template, so let's say you've created maybe a slides template that shows them where to put their pictures on their slides or their descriptions of anything else, you would like to change it to something else. So there's how to make a copy, how to make a template / preview. Okay, so I'm going to take that same link and I'm going to paste it up at the top. And then again, instead of edit, I'm going to type in template / preview. Okay. And then when I hit enter, it brings them to this screen. So now it's going to show people what my document looks like. It's going to give them a preview of my document. And then if someone else wanted to use this as a template, they would literally just click use template. So now when they do that, it's not going to put copy of on anything. It's not going to do any of the extra stuff. It's going to give them an exact copy of what I have without the word copy of. So, and that would be, again, something you could share with your students. So let's say I've got this, oh, it opened my add-ons. Let's say I've got this table here and I tell my students, in the green box type this, in the yellow box type this, in the red box type this. I can send them this template and then they can create things based on the colors that I've shared with them. Okay, I think we've talked about all of the fun things that you can do with Google Docs. Obviously, you're only limited to your imagination as far as using Google Docs in the classroom. If you Google Docs in the classroom, it'll give you a whole bunch of different options that you can do with students. You can create ebooks. If you change the page size and add books that way, there's all kinds of things you can do with Google Docs, but a lot of the editing things have to come first before you do that. So does anyone have any questions about Google Docs or what we can do? Any way I can clear up any issues? Anybody? Let me check the chat. No questions? Can you highlight the entire board and just color the board? Bowman, I don't understand your question. What do you mean highlight the entire board? Oh, yes. If I highlighted just the table, I could do that. So if I wanted to highlight these cells and then make them all one color, I could go through and do that as well. So now you can see just these are blue or green, and I don't have to change the color of the paper. You can make whatever things you want colorful, however you want to do it.
Thanks. I was wanting that for if I insert a table to make it jump out on the page.
Yes. Once you insert a table, you can color each cell individually. You can color the whole table. You could do just the top row. So let's say I wanted them to know that this was the header row. I could make this maybe a darker green so they can differentiate between the two. It's completely up to you as far as how you color it. And then you can use the formatting tools the same way you normally would in Sheets. So I could center the headings, make them bold, underline, whatever I wanted to do. Any other questions? Formatting questions, how to make things more readable, user-friendly. Let's see. PDF download, publish. Where did the equation bar? Yes. Okay, I think that's it. If nobody has any questions or anything else, then hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow. How do you create a personal dictionary? Okay, so if you go up to the top and you go to Tools, under Spelling and Grammar, at the very bottom, it'll say Personal Dictionary. And you just click on that, and it will allow you to add any word that you use frequently that obviously wouldn't be in a traditional dictionary. So in education, we use a lot of acronyms, a lot of words that don't necessarily exist outside of our world. So you can add that, or if you wanted to add maybe some student names, having a creative name myself, I know that there's some other kids out there with creative names. You can add their names so you know if you're spelling them correctly or incorrectly. Like I had a girl a couple years ago, her name was Emily, but she spelled it with 2 L's at the end. And every time I typed it, it told me it was wrong, so I corrected it. And she kept telling me, no, miss, I do have 2 L's. I was like, I'm so sorry. So now I would be able to fix that. Let's see. Where can we access the recorded webinar? It will be on my YouTube channel. And then if you want to just type in the webinar back channel that you want to copy, I can include it in an email to just you, Miss Ballard. What types of questions or tasks related to Google Docs are often on the Google certification exam? So it's going to ask you to basically format things. So, change this to bold, change the size, do whatever there. One of the other things you can do, which I didn't show you, is change the font. So if I wanted to add more fonts, I could click on more fonts, and then I could see I have the fonts that I have listed here. So if I know there's a font that I'm never going to use, then I can get rid of it. Or if I know there's a font that I like all of the time to use, I can add it. So like this Josephine Sans, that's a pretty font. I want to add that to my font choices there. But maybe I take out this Mooley because it looks the same as something else. So you can do that. You can search for a specific type of font, and then you can have it show you fonts that are just similar to handwriting fonts to make it look like it's something that you've written. So like that Patrick Hand, that's nice. I like that. I'm just going to add that. And once you add it, once it's there, and then I can also change it If I wanted to maybe write in Arabic, there's my Arabic font. If I wanted to write in Hebrew, I've got a Hebrew font there. So you can change it to whatever. Here's a Korean one. They've got several Korean different fonts. And then you can sort by fonts that are trending, fonts that are out. You can do whatever you want. So that's how you add fonts. But yeah, it's just going to ask you to format some things. So highlight this, insert a table, take this information that is here in bulleted points and change it from bullets to arrows or dashes, or make it a numbered list instead of a bulleted list. Change the spacing. So maybe it wants the list double spaced. So you would just do that. Google Docs on the certification exam is mostly formatting. Mostly formatting. It is going to ask you about the Explore tool, which we went over, and adding a footnote. So here we go. I've written about ISTE standards. I've written about whatever. So let's say if I want to look up ISTE standards on the web, again, is something that only exists in our world, and then I go to this web page and I copy something from that page, I can just add this footnote and then it'll add it for me, which is definitely something they want you to know how to do. Okay, anything else? Any grading help? Grading how, Miss Grund? Can you clarify grading and what you're asking for there?